So the Tassinari clan is sitting around together. The alcohol hasn't kicked in for Italian mayhem. Go ahead.
Right, exactly. And this was the Tassinari side of the family. And so we're sitting there, and I'm like, hey, who wants to watch the interview? And my cousin's like, yeah, I want to see that. And my uncle's kind of like, well, whatever. And Jackie's like, I want to see it too. So I hook it all up to the flat screen TV, get my laptop set up, and all this other stuff. So we start watching the movie. And granted, I don't know the background of like Seth Rogen and all that stuff all that well because I haven't seen very many of their movies. So
you haven't seen like Pineapple Express, 40-Year-Old Virgin, crap. What else was he in? He was actually in Donnie Darko.
Neighbors,
yeah. Did I say 40-Year-Old Virgin?
Yeah, you did. And I had seen bits and pieces of that. I have seen The Green Hornet. So, anywho, we're sitting there, and the interview is starting, and I'm sitting here listening to it, and they're going on about, claiming Eminem's gay and all that stuff, and the language and stuff is getting pretty racy. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. And the biggest concern was not the adults watching it, but the fact was we were sitting there with my 14-year-old cousin.
What, is he North Korean?
No, he's not North Korean. But there are just some things that you shouldn't expose a 14-year-old to. So about 40 minutes into the movie...
Like what? Something that's not going to get us into trouble.
Well, since you haven't seen the movie, there's really not too much from the movie that I can relay that's not going to get us in trouble Well, actually, nothing we'd have to bleep out. Okay. So we got like 40 minutes into the movie, and we had to make the adult decision to say, okay, enough's enough. We have to stop this movie before the porn actually starts showing up. But they started doing like all this stuff. And granted, it's a 14-year-old kid, so they know some stuff, but as the adult, you still feel guilty for exposing them to, more advanced levels of stuff. Like there was one point where they were in the office with the CIA agents, and they were talking about being honeypotted and tricked into working with them. And one of the characters makes the analogy of, in the porn industry, we call this the money shot, when two guys are jerking the other two guys off and waiting for the cum shot in their face. And he's sitting there making the motions.
That violates FCC standards, sir. That's a bodily fluid. Negative. Bad Shane Tassinari.
For all of you playing the drinking game, this is the part where you take your shot.
Yep. Shane did it. Shane's the naughty one. If this were a terrestrial radio show, I would have lost my job, and it would be Shane's fault that I'm on welfare. Thank you very much, butthole.
No problem. But anyways, so that was the quandrum. So we eventually ended up stopping the movie before we traumatized the 14-year-old any further.
Meanwhile, he's sitting there like, I hear this every day in school.
Yes, but see, I probably would have said, okay, we're already 40 minutes into it, and we might as well keep going. But I kept looking over my uncle, who is his father, who was like...
He wasn't impressed.
You could tell that he wanted to say something, but he also didn't want to be the bad guy on Christmas. And, the person that he'd have to yell at is not the kid, because the kid's not sitting there watching it. He'd have to yell at me, his 31-year-old nephew. So he just didn't want to do it. So I made the adult decision. Why are you putting this
trash on Christmas? We're supposed to be watching A Christmas Story, you jerk.
Basically. So I, stopped it after 40 minutes. And it was a good thing I did, because later I went to start the movie, and it was only like another 5 minutes before they started showing porn. So.
Wow. So is it a good movie, or does it suck?
It depends on who you ask. For my taste, Jackie thought it was funny. I thought it was okay. I was expecting a more well-thought-out comedy.
Well, that's your first problem right there, is that you're expecting something to be well thought out. It's a Seth Rogen movie. He's not exactly Cecil B. DeMille, okay? All right, I don't know why you went in there thinking that you were going to be watching like the second coming of The Godfather, Shane.
Well, no, I wasn't even expecting that.
Italian cinematic masterpiece.
I expected like clever-ish kind of comedy, like, you know, something you'd see with like Wag the Dog or The Men Who, was it Watch Goats or whatever, or
Men Who Stare at Goats.
Yeah, Men Who Stare at Goats, or you know, the British version of Death at a Funeral.
And instead it was just like what?
The
90
Chris
minutes
Rock
of,
version
like,
of Death at a Funeral.
Gay jokes, and offending a bunch of people that eat tree bark.
Yeah, basically. And all sorts of, like, you know, horrible, horrible sexual jokes that were just so blatant that I don't... Yeah. I mean, if they were going for shock value, they definitely had it.
But there's nothing shocking anymore. That's the thing. There's nothing shocking about anything anymore. It's all like, I don't see why people are so shocked by anything. Why are we so sensitive?
Well, I think it was the first movie that I ever heard of them talking about their stink dick.
Their what?
Stink dick.
Okay, take another shot. Shane Tassinari. I'm never going to get in the radio. If I really seriously try to use these on a freaking portfolio, I am never going to get a radio show because you're just ruining it. You're sabotaging me.
No. See, this doesn't count. I am reporting journalistically. It's like the National Geographic magazines.
Instead of saying stink and then the stink, why did you say like Stink Richard or something?
I was making a direct quote from the movie. It's like National Geographic. They're not sold as a porn magazine, but they can get away with showing it because it's documenting natural facts. I don't know. But yeah.
You're sabotage. You're a saboteur. You're a saboteur.
Well, I can't let you get a real paying job because then you wouldn't do this with me every week.
You know what? But then I wouldn't be living in a motel either, paying every... Quit being selfish, you bunghole. Either way, so the whole movie is essentially let me see if I can. I haven't seen the movie. I have no desire to watch the movie because honestly, the previews, now keep in mind, I like idiot humor, but it's just not funny to me. It doesn't seem funny to me. But essentially, the whole movie is, let's see how offensive we can be towards North Koreans with a bunch of, like, weed, penis, and flatulent jokes.
Pretty much, but the interesting part about it was in scenes of the movie, like when they first introduced Kim, they actually made him look like a really fun guy to hang out with.
Really? So he's kind of like the Neil Patrick Harris from Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle?
Pretty much. Like, he starts out like as like him and one of the main characters are like sitting there hanging out. They're drinking alcohol and they're playing basketball, driving around in the tank, blowing things up. You know, like guys would hang out with their shotguns, like just shooting skeet or something. You know,
That's
just
cool.
doing guy things.
That's awesome. So Kim Jong-un is shown to be like... So essentially, it's almost like when Dennis Rodman went over there, and they're just, like, broing it up, pretty much.
Yeah, it was basically just like that.
That's pretty cool. And then, like, I think what's just hilarious to me, though, is that North Koreans actually hacked Sony over this movie. They're, like, so mad. It's almost like Muslims flipping out over Muhammad.
Well, I think that's Seth Rogen's next film. He's actually going to show a depiction of Muhammad.
Oh my goodness. If people are worried that the North Koreans are going to start war... Seth Rogen is going to start World War III.
Now, just as a disclaimer, I actually have no idea if that's true. So anyone listening to us, hearing me say that about Seth Rogen's next movie, let me just say I have no clue what he's doing next.
It'd be horrible if he actually did that. Because, I mean, I'm not a bleeding heart. I'm not a bleeding heart liberal type. I'm more of a libertarian in the sense that I believe that everyone should just do what you're going to do as long as it doesn't cause anybody any harm. And I don't find hurt feelings to be harm, okay? Hurt feelings aren't going to kill you.
Yeah, doesn't anybody remember the old school year rhyme? Sticks and stones might break my bones, but words will never
hurt me. Exactly.
Unless you're Muslim.
So, if someone offends your... All right, so it's just like, all right, so Muslims get upset if you depict Muhammad or make a joke about Muhammad. However, people can make fun of God and Christ and everything, and it's okay. It's like, you know what? What's good for one should be good for everybody.
That's
so,
right.
I mean,
Muslims need to learn to take it like big boys.
Yeah, if you can dish it, then you need to be able to take it. And that's the way the North Koreans are. I mean, all right, I'm not the biggest fan of Barack Obama, but if Kim Jong-un can call Barack Obama a monkey and an ape, then we should be able to call Kim Jong-un a big, fat, sushi-eating SOB. Or, depict him being murdered on screen. Why not?
Yeah, it was a good time for all. Oh,
Yeah.
But then it gets better, right? And so then after the interview is released, somebody starts hacking North Korea. But let's set the record straight. North Korea did not actually hack us. As far as the FBI can tell, it was a group that North Korea had to hire on their behalf because they didn't actually have access to the internet or the technology to be able to do it themselves. So they hired somebody else to do it.
Having to go and go, hey, I'll give you 25 yen if you hack Sony. Make it 50.
Yeah.
Done.
That's like schoolyard shit. Hey, that guy over there is beating me up for my milk money. I'll pay you double my milk money. And, we'll pause a moment for those of you taking your shot. Okay. So, taking the milk money. What the hell? Oh, see, I did it again. No, that's not even a... Never mind.
Hell is okay. You can say hell.
I don't even remember what it was that I said that got them for their shots. Anyways.
You said schoolyard feces.
Oh. I don't think they even bleep that out anymore.
They bleep out the S word. It's a 4-letter word.
Do they? I hear
Yes.
South Park
It's
say
one
it
of
all
the
the
7
time.
deadly words that you can't say on radio.
Huh.
Yes.
Learn something new every day. So
What
anyway.
do you mean something new? These rules have stood the test of time since
So I could say bitch
1982.
without it being bleeped out, but they can't say any 4-letter word without it being bleeped out?
No, you can't say the F word or the S word or the C word, or you can say the D word, but not in the connotation of I have a Richard. You can say you're being a dick, but you can't say my big Richard.
Oh, so if you're talking about somebody else's Richard, it's okay?
No. You can say someone is being a Richard, but you can't talk about someone's Richard as in the organ. So I can say Shane is being a dick because he keeps swearing, but I can't say I'm going to punch Shane in his Richard.
Poor Richard.
Yeah, Richard's just getting...
So they're going to have to be bleeping out Richard.
Yeah. Well, I guess if North Korea is going to hack Sony over us making fun of Kim Jong-un, then, the fundamentalists can hack Granite Coast Entertainment for us swearing and Richarding all over the place.
No, it'll be the Muslims because we were making fun of them.
Yeah, true. Well, Muhammad, I don't think Muhammad has a Richard. I'm pretty sure he doesn't, because he's supposed to be the end-all, be-all of everything, and he could just make everything be because he's just Muhammad. He can just do things like that. So he doesn't need a Richard. He doesn't have a Richard or his backup singers.
So what does he need with 72 virgins?
Absolutely nothing. That's just extra crap that's not necessarily. Kind of like getting a connect with your ex. Besides, what they don't tell the Muslims is that when you get your 72 virgins, it's a bunch of fat guys living in their mother's basement playing Star Wars or World of Warcraft or, watching Star Trek or arguing over which is better, Firefly or the Avengers.
These are not the virgins you're looking for.
These are not the virgins. These are the virgins you're going to get. The hot chicks with the big boobs and the tight booties and the ones that are just like sex slaves. These are not the virgins you're getting. No. Because the hot chicks are never virgins. The only hot chicks that are virgins are called nuns, and not many of them are hot chicks.
So, to further progress this interview scenario,
Yeah,
there's now
of course,
an activist in, I think he's hiding out in South Korea. He is actually a North Korean defector. So he's decided that he's going to take a whole bunch of DVD copies of the interview, which were most likely pirated because of the way that the interview has been released. So he's going to be sending pirated copies of the interview on DVD and USB drives, and he's going to hook them up to helium balloons or some form of balloons, and he's going to float them over to North Korea, so the North Koreans
gonna
have
go
to
over
watch
the big
this.
gonna go over the big wall.
That's right. We're going to float balloons through the demilitarized zone. I'm not sure who's going to shoot them down first, the U.S. military or the North Korean military, because anything going in there is just not coming out alive.
Yeah, so like, what would the point be then? I mean, it's not.
That's why he's using balloons.
I mean,
So
but is it just the fact to say that, yeah, I did it? Because don't they only get electricity from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m.?
Yeah, something like that. And I was reading another article that their internet, apparently the people who Kim likes gets full access to any internet they want, but your average North Korean citizen only gets access to like 5 web pages, and they're mostly cooking recipes. And the